Well, I guess I have to tell you about the time when I was hit by a car on the highway. I was about in the third grade, as I recall, and my stepdad had found at a local ranch an old broken down bicycle that he kind of fixed up. But one of the instructions I was given, do not go to the highway and ride that bicycle on the highway or anything other than just around our neighborhood. That was my instructions. Well, of course, lo and behold, a friend of mine had a bike. As I recall, he had a new bike, and mine was sort of a really old bike he kind of put together. And we went clear over to the highway, which was quite a ways. It had to be at least 3 to 5 miles away from the house. It isn't a long ways from the house. But I remember being on the side of the road, and my stepfather had put this old bike together, but he had not really he tightened down the handles, but there's one place where the handle just was kind of loose. And as I was there, I was riding along the road, this highway, and the handle started wobbling back and forth, and I couldn't really quite steer. And all of a sudden, it kind of forced me to steer across the road, and unfortunately there was a car coming that hit me I was not quite in the center of the car, but on the left side of the headlights. So I hit the headlights, and I think I went over the top of the car, and I was picked up by the people in the car, and they put me in the back seat, and I remember coming to in the back seat of that car, and a woman there kind of wiping the blood from my mouth and nose, and I knew I knew how to get to my home, so I told them the directions and how to get. So they took me to my house, and Mom answered the door, and she came in, and he called Dr. Stiles, who was a local doctor, and he actually came over to the house and checked me over and said, well, if he urinates any blood or anything, let me know, but I think he's going to be okay. I do remember urinating some blood, but I didn't tell my mom or didn't tell anybody. So anyway, that was my near-death experience of getting hit on the highway while I'm on a bicycle, and I'm thrown clear over the top of the car, luckily, rather than thrown underneath the car. and went to bed. So I got up the next morning, and I knew that I slept in a little bit, as I recall, and I had been told by my stepdad to be sure and clean the shotgun. So I proceeded to get the equipment and start cleaning the shotgun. And as I was cleaning the shotgun, I was about done, and then I laid the gun against the barrel right against the middle of my chest, and because my stepdad had said, "Well, always release the trigger to take the tension off of it after you cleaned it." So there I was sitting with the end of the barrel against my chest, and I tried to push the trigger, but I couldn't quite put enough pressure on it. So I had to move the shotgun up a few inches, and I pushed and it worked, but I had somehow forgot that there was still a shell in the casing, and when I pumped the thing, I actually pumped the shell into the chamber, and it went off, fired, and it went past my ear and up and took about 3-foot hole, huge hole in the ceiling. And my mom was in the kitchen and dead silence. And I yelled to Mom, I said, "I'm okay." So that was my experience of almost shooting myself with a 12-gauge shotgun. See, I'm just telling you about a dance I went to in Likely, California, which was about 20 miles from Alturas. It was Saturday night, and typical Western dance that was held in these small communities once a month during the summer. But anyway, everyone was there, all my friends and both girls and boys. And I do not remember who gave me a ride there. I rode with somebody there, but I don't remember who gave me the ride. But at one point I decided to head back, and the brother of one of my friends whose dad had the then new Kaiser Frazer franchise, and he had a brand new Frazer automobile. But somebody told me that he was going to be heading back to Alturas, so I decided to see if I could run him down and ask him, could I catch a ride back with him to Alturas? And what I didn't realize, he had been drinking heavily, and he was really very drunk. And I got in the car, and two of my other friends decided to ride back also. As we took off to head back to Alturas, the driver, whose name was Vance Gloucester, he was putting this car to its full pace, and we were going about 90 miles an hour initially, and the two other people said they tried to plead with him to stop and let them out. It didn't occur to me that I wanted to get out. I wanted to get to Alturas. So anyway, he wouldn't stop, and on this particular road, about halfway, there's a reasonably sharp curve. Well, when we approached that curve, we probably were hitting 100 miles an hour. And as we started around the curve, the car started tipping, and one side of the wheels went off in the pavement. And as we went around that sharp curve on two wheels, and we were on the verge of turning over, which would have killed us all. And then it righted. As we got around it, then it righted itself. So I got out when we got in Alturas.